Hello and welcome to the DM's Book Club, where we talk about Dungeons and Dragons and how you can put it into your campaigns. This week, as ever, I am with Fiona, who is
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I am not in my normal environment.
You're not. No. I am in my normal environment, but I am suited and booted for some reason.
Yes. You look incredibly fancy. I didn't get the memo at all.
Sorry.
I've got my glasses on. I've not washed my hair, so it's all like, oh no.
Yes. Well, for the listeners at home, I've got a buttoned-up black shirt on, and it's because I had an interview like 5 minutes before this for a job, so I had to just jump in and I didn't have time to change. But
look at that dedication, folks. It wasn't because of me. It wasn't because for the stream or anything like that. No.
You know what? I might keep smartening up as we go. Be a dinner suit next week.
Oh, okay. I'll keep dressing down so it gets to pyjama level, and you can't see it, but I do have my dressing gown around me underneath. I am
to keep
bloody
warm.
cold. Yeah, I'm bloody cold.
You are up north, so you know.
I am up north. Yes, I am. I am coming to you not live. It's pre-recorded, but I'm coming to you through the stream from my childhood bedroom, so you can see. Oh God, I can't believe it's there. So that's my graduation photo.
Yay.
That's hidden behind me. There's obviously Legolas figurine over there, and various books and PS2 games down there. But
and the
it's
IKEA
fine.
box that everyone had.
Oh, everyone! Yeah, I mean, there's nothing in it. I checked. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, not even £2. Oh, there's always £2.
I know.
Like that.
I'm sure I checked it years ago and took that £2 out. But yes, I am definitely. And actually, all this stuff behind me is IKEA. So IKEA, if you fancy sponsoring the DM's Book Club, we all want a Billy bookcase. So
yes, who doesn't exactly?
Oh, they're so good.
They are very good. That sofa-y thing is IKEA as well. You know.
There you go.
There you go.
I feel like there should be a campaign somewhere where you have the general store or something like that is IKEA inspired in some way.
The Royal Britannia crew have our goose.
Oh, brilliant!
Yes.
That's so cool. I like.
Run by a goose called our goose. So
Perfect.
it's very good. And I'm Hamilton, by the way. But I didn't say that.
Yeah, hello, Hamilton.
I'm here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's not as important, to be fair. So let's.
Well, that's utterly rubbish. You wore a suit and everything, so it's
just to try. That's trying to make myself seem important. That's the reason why.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Well, Hamilton, what are we talking about today? What is our topic of choice?
Our topic of choice is the Unearthed Arcana, which is the Travelers of the Multiverse. If people don't know what Unearthed Arcana is, it is playtest material that's issued by Wizard of the Coast to the people, you people out there. You can get this by going to Wizard of the Coast and downloading it. I'll put a link in chat. It's done, and you just drop that, and then and it's basically it's usually related to what they're going to be bringing out in later editions. We talked about the future of D&D a few weeks ago. We've heard that there's multiverse things are happening in terms of Mordenkainen's new book, as well as potential Spelljammer. Mix and Boo came out. It seems to be the way it's moving.
And it's interesting because, like you're saying, so Unearthed Arcana has been coming out for the last couple of years on stuff. Certain things haven't been implemented just yet. So I believe, she says, touching wood, like the Unearthed Arcana for the Ranger, which sort of the basic class hasn't been updated yet in any previous source books, but it will be presumably for the revised stuff in 2024. But then so they've had stuff like that, but then they've also had stuff like Owl Folks and stuff like that when they sort of did this sort of Unearthed Arcana came out, and then 2 weeks later they went, Strixhaven's coming out. Oh, it's got Owlfolk in it. So you're like, oh, you've had no time to playtest this per se. So it's interesting. I think they've either got really set on their minds on what they want, or they just it's getting people hyped. I think is either way. Like, out of interest, Hamilton, like how I appreciate, obviously you and I we run lots of games, maybe don't play in it as much. How often have you been tempted by an Unearthed Arcana, like, oh, I want to play this and test it out?
I did,
and send feedback.
The only time I ever did was the Ranger one, because it was the first class I took on when I came back to D&D was a Ranger, and it's crap. And I liked and then until they brought out like the Gloomstalker, Horizon Walker ones, I quite liked them. Yeah. They're quite fun, but it just was not. It's not right, and everyone knows it's not right. But it's just not flavored well enough, and it's not. It could be so much better. And I think they did a lot for the new one, and I've used the new one just didn't one shot sort of land, and had a look, and I've looked about it just out of interest, and then but feedback I didn't really give. I just that's the only one I really put some real time into. I think it's also worth noting then the Heron Gone, the Rabbit Folk one was changed a little bit since they do make changes, don't they?
Yeah.
Between them coming out.
Yeah. For me,
I was going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. So the first time I'd ever seen Unearthed Arcana enacted, actually, was, and I know we did an episode on it recently, Critical Role, where, spoilers, in case you haven't seen season 1, but one of the characters, played by Sam Riegel, goes away for a little bit. Something happens, a dramatic thing, and they go away. And it's really sad, because all the players around the table are like, oh god, what are we going to do? And I don't know if it was planned or not per se, because I don't know how they could react to it. But then Sam comes back with this new character who is an artificer, and at the time, the artificer was Unearthed Arcana, and I was just enraptured by this whole concept that I played it in my first ever long campaign as a player. I played an Unearthed Arcana artificer, and we got to like level 6, something like that, and then stopped for various reasons, and then changed the campaign and all that sort of thing. And so only recently has the artificer become fully formed. I think it was in Eberron, but also it's in Tashes as well. Yeah. And they changed quite a lot from that. Like the whole and certainly with Tashes, obviously you have 3 different types of artificer. I appreciate we will go on to Travellers of the Multiverse, but I do think it's quite interesting.
It's interesting. It's a very small little document, so there's a lot that
exactly. And I just, for me, the thing was having a sort of what they're now called like a steel defender, but it was like basically a construct companion of some sort. And I just love that idea, because it was very much like the ranger having an animal companion, or having something like that which you could control in battle. And obviously now you have stuff like the artillerist, the sort of the battlesmith, there's like the one which is the armor one, which I can never remember the name of. But then we got rid of stuff like the alchemicalist, which is what I was playing. This idea of just being able to go into your bag of holding, and go, oh shit,
yeah,
and throw.
Like that. That's the one I liked.
So much fun as a result, because in my head I had the madcap scientist stuff. But anyway, so it's very interesting to see, because that was out for a little bit, and then obviously got incorporated and stuff. And I think thanks to Critical Role, obviously that got shown, like, because they changed stuff even in that they could have a companion, a construct that was intelligent and could understand a word. A language, sorry. So I think even seeing it, I think there should be more shows or streams which is dedicated to Unearthed Arcana, just to see what it's like, and even if it's like one shots or it's like an ongoing campaign for a couple of things. Because I think that's really interesting to see that, and I'm sure loads of people do that, and I'm just ignorant about the stuff like that. So
but it's the big ones. But the thing is, the things that kind of put me in the mind that that's not going to happen is that places like D&D Beyond aren't going to be supporting Unearthed Arcana anymore.
That's very
for example.
true. Yes.
So it's sort of it's kind of funny, it was such a good way of getting it, and I know that they've probably got back end issues to like implementing it in there, but they have a good homebrew system, and you can make it yourself. So you'd like to think it was as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? As in, you'd think it would be as simple as just adding it in, but maybe it's not. And I'm not an IT person, so I'm one of those people that's saying it's probably easy, and they're all probably going, he has no idea what he's talking about. Yeah. So, but it's a shame though, because they are good fun. And
I hadn't even considered that. Yeah, because a lot of the stuff we do get is obviously through D&D Beyond. Like I can make up characters easily. I recently did, as you know, I have recorded a bonus episode coming out God knows when at this point, but with creating a character for my mum who's never played D&D or anything like that, and it was so simple using D&D Beyond, because I could just read stuff out, and I wasn't carrying books around, we weren't writing lots of stuff down, we could just do it then and there, and that was just really easy, because it was just a big chat really. And then the only physical element was we'll definitely roll dice, because that's actually I think that's quite fun as a character thing. But yeah, if you're not able to like test it out and have it available online, because this is all PDFs and stuff we can get, but like who has a printer anymore? Who has physical character sheets? Like if you're still working from home and stuff, if you're like me, going into the office and using the office printer. Anyway,
it's out now. You've said the illegal part of the conversation.
Oh, they'll never get me. I'm too important. Anyway.
It's so true. But I did the same with my office. We had to do like little office talks once in a while, and I thought, let's make a character as an office, which was hilarious fun. And I wish I had recorded it, but like having 15 people chiming in for what what they want to name the character. It's on my D&D Beyond if anyone wants to see it.
That's fab. That is fab.
But it was worked well. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, no. It's always the way with us. Obviously, we don't speak for ages, and then we're like, blah. So apologies for everyone who's listening into this conversation. But let's talk about Travelers of the Multiverse.
Yes.
So there are 6. Sorry, I always have to double count 6 different races for people to try.
Yep.
Some of them have more stuff than others, which I think is interesting. But all of them, obviously, are following that Tasha's rule of like, hey, here is some. There's actually no suggestions actually where you want stuff. It's just like make it up. Where if you want to have a +2 in something, do that, or you can split it into a +1 for either of the stats you want to do. So again, as a a way of testing these characters out, you can easily do that, which I think is good. So I'll just read them out because I'll do the embarrassing bit of getting the names wrong, so Hamilton can laugh at me later. So we have the Astral Elf, which is an elf denizen of the Astral Plane.
I think it's Astral Elf.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Burn.
How embarrassing. Sorry.
No, that's hilarious. Autognome, which both me and Hamilton agreed off recording, is fucking cool. I love it. Giff, we've agreed on Giff for this because we're British.
It does actually say in the thing that you can there's an argument about Giff or Giff.
Which I love that it's joke. That meta about it. Yeah. It's great. And then this is the first one. Hadozee.
His guess is as good as mine.
It's a highly adaptable simian being, which we found out whenever we talked about this last time. I didn't realise what a simian was, so that's good. A plasmoid, which is an amoeba-like being, which I find is really interesting, and then a Thri-kreen or something like that.
Oh, it is a Thri-kreen. Okay.
Well, we don't know.
I thought it was a Thri-kreen. Is it not a Thri-kreen?
Well, a mysterious 6th option, which is essentially
I'm going to go with what you said. Thri-kreen sounds better.
Thri-kreen.
Yeah, sounds better actually.
Okay. Well, it's a 6-limbed telepathic insectoid, which I love. It's just like that is its line in this document. Yeah. It's not too much on that. And yeah, just a little bit of admin at the beginning. So it's like. I think it's quite nice. It has it here. I know at the first page of all these things, it's pretty much duplicated from now on. But it's like languages. You can speak and write whatever languages you feel is appropriate with your DM. Just getting that out there. Creature type, all that sort of thing. Lifespan. Typical lifespan is that of a humanoid, and just whatever. The one thing I do find interesting, and I'd be interested to know what you think about this, Hamilton, is the height and weight. Mm-hmm. How often have you rolled for height and weight of your characters?
Ooh, you know what? I have not ever done that. I've always defined it myself.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those things where you can get into so much customization with D&D characters. You'd be like, this is their exact weight, this is their exact height. And maybe it's like, this onyx griffin that you've got, your wondrous item or whatever, can only carry, 200 pounds of people. But then in my head, I'm like, well, that will be a medium-sized person, 2 medium-sized people, perhaps, or 1 medium-sized person and 2 small creatures. I'm not going to be like, you're just going to go over the weight limit. Like it's more admin for me to care about how heavy or how tall someone is. Like in my head, I just have it. Exactly. I guess at some point maybe that is what people do, but I do think that even now people talking about weight and height of characters, when you could just easily just go, I think I would just say, here's the general range of small creatures are this to this, and then you could just be like, cool, in the middle, or
which is kind of what I always go with. That's how I've done it. Like when I played a kobold, it's between 3 and 4 feet, so 3 foot 6 inches. That'll do. Yeah. Or I want the smaller one because I want them to be really cute, or I want them to be the taller one because I want them to be lanky. But it's I think I've never done that, but.
Unless it's going to be like a fantasy roller coaster theme land where you have to be this height to get in, and all your cute little kobolds won't be allowed on there because they're too small. They're like, no, my arms don't reach the.
That's why there are trench coats.
That is true. Oh no, that's a different one shot altogether. So yeah, that's the sort of bit I got from the introduction. Is like obviously flavour it however you want, but I do think that sort of comment about, because it does say like you can still roll for your height and weight. And I was like, Who does that anymore? Maybe that's just...
Maybe.
I just want to get onto the...
My Curse of Strahd DM, though, will... If someone's weighty and I haven't got a strength score, I'm not pushing them up a hill. That's for sure. Because they're playing it gritty, and it's like... Yeah, they're encumbrance. I'm playing encumbrance for the first time. Do not like it. I'm having to track my arrows as well. Tracking arrows? I'm not even using them out of spite.
You're just like, no, I'm not helping.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna...
Only if I find an arrow am I using it. I'm not using any of the ones in my... I've got a spare quiver and I'm only filling them up, and that's it.
You're just upcycling arrows. I love it as a result. Cool. Well, let's chat about. We'll go through them very quickly because again, mostly time again thanks to me on this. But like so, Astral Elves. Let's go into that. What did you make of Astral Elves, Hamilton?
I think they're cool because I like elves and I like wispy astrally elves because. Anything that gets me closer to playing a David Bowie character, I'm happy. And Astral Elf feels like, that's your Starman character.
It
so that's
does,
perfect.
Doesn't it? It does feel like the man who fell to earth.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, love it. It's a great, it's got nice little, I think there's a lot of lore you could build out of it, living in the Astral Plane. There's some fun things that are hanging out in there as well, like the Giff and the Mind Flayers. And so there's a lot of fun with that. Yeah, and imbue their souls a spark of divine light that manifests as a starry gleam in an astral elf's eyes.
The life in the silver void. I was like, whoa, that just is such a. Again, I know I always say this. There's some really great like one-liners here. For me, actually, it's interesting. You just think sort of a David Bowie, almost alien-esque, not knowable thing. I did think of something similar because this talks about time quite a bit. Obviously, like nothing ages in the astral plane, and they gain this weird perception about how people are. So they're almost like deities in their lifespan. But I was thinking more like you could have a proper Doctor Who Gallifreyan outlook, so that they are kept in this bubble, and then they're realizing that all these other people, that time is different for them. And maybe that whole sort of Time Lord Victorious when they're brought back or something. I could see them being actually a big bad evil is what I wrote down. This idea that time is very different, and so and they feel they know more because they've seen more.
There's that sort of classic overarching view of life, and so it also made me think of Peter Pan, and that you could have like they're all like a group of just children age, but like I forgot what the Neverland sort of feel to it, and have this sort of little group of people that are all like little children but still having their own like economy and government and stuff like that, and they're actually completely naive but trying to rule their own system. Do you know what I mean? So you can imagine they still haven't grown up, even though they've lived for hundreds of years. They still got the sort of mental attitude of like a 14-year-old trying to run a business. Like, I can imagine that being quite fun.
I love that as a complete opposite to the big bad evil. I like that because that plays with this emotion stuff as well, because it does talk about like some of these are prepared for some of these elves are prone to melancholy, whilst others to play an absence of feeling. So I love that idea that these ones who look live for thousands of years but they're still stuck in puberty.
Exactly. Hello. Like, would you like to? I propose a new law.
Please like me. Lots of peer pressure.
Lots of emo kids in the corner. Just get it like,
and just to quickly finish off, looking at their traits. Sorry, that's so funny. So there's stuff. Obviously, there's stuff that is very similar to elves. So you got fate, ancestry, keen senses, trance as well. You've also got proficiency. Oh, I can't say
proficiencies.
Whenever
this is cool.
So whenever you finish a long rest using your trance, you gain 2 proficiency. Oh god, you get 2 skills.
Yes.
with each with a weapon or a tool of your choice. So I found this interesting because I don't know how. It's interesting because it then says you acquire these by drawing them from the shared elven memory. In the little description, it didn't really talk about shared elven things or anything to do with reincarnation. So that instantly means to me, like we talked about, like the Bright Queen in Critical Role, this idea of reincarnation, and it's maybe the same souls over and over and over. So I thought, that'd be quite a cool, again, lore thing. But then I was thinking about how often do I use tools? Again, maybe it's just me.
That's the only one as a rogue that you use a lot. Proficiency.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything like
herbalism kit. Do you never use herbalism
kits? I think that those are the only two I could think of. Yeah.
I'm always using my painter's tools for really important situations.
You never know.
But no, I think I think it's kind of fun though. I really like it, and I think the shared elven thing is that they are the astral plane is where spirits do travel to. In the Ghost Walk one, it's the ethereal plane. I'm getting mixed up. Sorry, I'm getting mixed. Ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, but you can also, people get on the way there. They get stuck too.
They do, yeah.
Easy enough.
Yeah, there seems like there's going to be some more interesting lore at the back of that when it comes out, basically. And but I like the idea of just waking up and going, I know how to. I can paint today. I can do this. I can cook. You know.
I think that again, maybe I always see proficiency. Oh god, I can't even say it. My brain's not working today. I just feel stuff like that. Maybe, I guess, is a role play thing rather than a mechanic.
Yeah.
And I just feel like you should just get that anyway. Like it's because I feel like. Proficiency. Oh god, I can't even say it. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's just like because that's
Profs.
obviously it's that profs. Yeah,
profs.
It adds to your stuff. So obviously, like you get a prof for initiative. You get for attacking with a weapon you're good at. Yeah. So I don't know. It just for me, I was like that's a flavorful thing rather than a mechanic thing. And the other thing I just want to quickly sort of talk about is this radiant soul idea. So when you succeed on a death saving throw, you regain a number of hit points equal to your prof bonus and one of your sort of mental modifiers. And you can use this once per long rest. So I think that's a great little save. Maybe that whole you live for a long time, that even time itself, your time is not gone and all that sort of thing. It's quite cool.
Even that, it does add to that idea you're having that even death means less to them as well because they can just, it's like... Did you play Destiny? It's the sorcerers in that. I forgot the name of they're called now. The class. Damn it. I know there's,
don't look at me.
Yeah,
I've not played Destiny.
And there's hunters. Oh, jeez. I've forgotten all of them. Anyway, the wizardy ones, they do that sort of thing, don't they? Kind of go, and they sort of they can revive everyone. It feels a bit like that. Kind of remind me of those. Very cool.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, let's move on to possibly the best race ever. Yes, Autognomes. So these are mechanical beings built by rock gnomes specifically in their image, and they have a particular purpose for them. So I'm getting instantly stuff like Frankenstein's monster, Edward Scissorhands was what I was thinking as well.
Yes. I love how the horror brain
horror,
and then me, it's like little glittery gold gnome, working in Santa's workshop sort of feeling, like magical, like Flimp from last week, just all glittery sort of like, my more jazzy sort of glam rock. They'd be like the glam rock companions. I imagine now my David Bowie Astral Elf with a backing band. With a backing band of Autognomes who are just manning the ship that he flies around in. And they just kind of like, come on, people, let's go fly into the sky. And then they're like, oh, yes, master. Yeah,
yes, Mr. Bowie. Yeah. But I think the reason I did jump to horror stuff a little bit is because it talks about like, again, how their internal components are sort of made. Yeah. So one could have an actual beating heart, which I'm like, ooh, or powered by stardust, or intricate clockwork is. So there's loads of ways you can play it. I also thought, because I'm sure we'll go on to it, is this Autognome history table.
Yes, forgot.
Which is, some of it is so beautiful but so sad. Yeah. So like, you get some sort of things that remind me of, say, even Pinocchio, this idea that you want to be a real boy or you want to be a real gnome. I thought even like there's somewhere I have to look it up. A glitch caused you to forget your original programming. You don't know who made you or where you come from. That's number 4 on the Autognome history table. Yeah. I would go one further and say that you forget that you're an Autognome completely.
Oh yeah, and you just think you're real. You don't know. Yeah, I like that.
It's like that film AI when that came out. It's, being a real gnome and not realizing. I think that'd be such a cool storyteller thing. And all these sort of history ones. I think some of them are beautiful. Like the first one where it's like you're urged by your creator to go and find stuff. Or the second one, which is like, your creator died.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, yeah.
Two different extremes. So.
It does remind me of a character we had on Dragon's Duel, which was a construct, like a Warforged, but they played it that they had such a low intelligence score that they played it that they were a broken jukebox that could only remember misheard lines. and it was fantastic. It was so good. It was just so funny because they went on the kissthisguy.com, which is like all the misheard lines that you could have. They were amazing. It was really good. It was really good fun. But yes, and I like that those sort of ideas, that sort of, you could play that sort of glitchy character as well, so which could be quite fun.
Yeah, and again, looking at the traits, you get armored casing, so you have a certain set base armor class. Built for success, you can add 1d4 to an attack roll, ability check, and saving throw. And you can do so after seeing the d20, but before the effects are resolved. So again, having a quick bless on yourself. As many times as you're proficient in.
Pretty OP. They're little Terminators, basically.
They really are. Yeah.
Like a T-1000 sort of thing.
And also, and like this idea of true life. So, because you're a construct, mending, if it's cast on you, you can expend a hit die and regain it to number of hit points plus your constitution modifier, which is great. But also, you do benefit from things that do preserve life. So, cure wounds, healing word, and spare the dying, which don't normally affect normal constructs. So that we talked about it on horror monsters. Ooh, careful, dog. Sorry, the dog's pulling my microphone away. I was talking about you. Whereby Derek picked out... Oh, hang on, I need to think about this. Hang on. It's gone. Never mind. The dog distracted me. So
damn you, dog!
Look at that face. Look at that face. He wants my crumpets, but that's okay. That was it. So like these constructs that don't benefit from healing stuff, they have to have mending in some way. So I think compared to this, so it does feel like you still get a benefit from healing. It's just very.
I like that.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
And it makes that having the mending spell useful as well.
Finally, it's not just mending your clothes; it's mending your soul.
Yeah. That's quite. No, it's very good. I liked it. I think, as I said, they're like really cool, sort of like even being a character, but I kind of like them using them as sort of NPCs or sort of DNPCs maybe. That could be really fun just to play with.
I do like that idea of having a backing band or having a crew of them. Yeah, so that makes sense. It's not just one; it's loads of them together. I think that's quite cute actually. As a not minor characters, I do like that. Yeah,
exactly. Oh, they're really cool. They're very cool. Okay, what's next then? The Giff.
It's Giff, yes. So we have spoken about Giff before on DM's Book Club, and we talked to them from their monster stat block from Mordekainen's Tome of Foes. And it's interesting because I think at the time I was saying like, I don't get them in the sense of they are very fun, extravagant, like kind of characters, and that's what they've been sort of described as with their lore. And at the time, all I kept seeing was people going, "We want to play Giff," and I was like, "This would be good for a one shot, but for a longer campaign, I think it would just get really irritating." And so, but obviously they were a playable race in Spelljammer, and now they're back here, and I feel they've changed quite a bit. I mean, it's a much shorter,
very short little intro to them, isn't it?
Yeah, and when you compare the two, it's very different. So they've taken out that whole sort of bravado. Here, they're not proficient with firearms. And I know, obviously, you can, like we said this before, you can put it in if you want, but like it's removed stuff like their ability to headbutt, having it was like some sort of grenade. Excuse me, some sort of grenade.
I've actually got the Mordekainen's open, so I can just quickly show that.
Yes, please do, because I do not.
Them there. So, as you said, they got head first charge. Giff moves at least 20 feet in a straight line, ends with 5 feet of a large or smaller creature. That creature succeeds on strength save with some bludgeoning damage. They have firearms knowledge. They get multi-attack. They got a musket or a pistol or a frag grenade, basically. And that seems to be the sort of, as you say, key to it. They're a gunpowdering monster. So that's the stat block there.
And that's a sort of thing. And in Mordekainen's, it sort of talks about them being... They enjoy the art of war, but they enjoy, like, obviously winning, but they won't fight each other. They would rather, sit it out, because out of respect. So there's this idea of very warped chivalry, and very much, come on, lads. It's bloody brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas this has sort of been boiled down to storytelling.
Yeah.
And they a Giff recounts their past exploits to an enraptured crowd. So it's a performance per se. And
which is basically just the tireless raconteur, though, isn't it? It's that sort of like, which kind of goes with it. It's just
yes.
I'm trying to think of if people have seen SEO Trot. Have you seen SEO Trot?
Oh yeah, SEO Trot. Yeah.
You know the guy, the neighbour, who's like goes on and just is quite posh and just turns up for dinner and speaks completely about himself and all the great stories he has, and then leaves without asking one, and then asks one question and says, "Oh, it's time to go." And it's that sort of person that you just imagine them turning up in the tavern and going, "Oh yes," sort of Baron Munchausen sort of character.
Exactly, Baron Munchausen, absolutely. And just looking at what you do get. So obviously you get hippo build, so you have advantage, because you're a big hippo, so you've got advantage on strength stuff. But also you get damage dealer. So, and a great line, like a hippopotamus in a crystalware shop, you're naturally adept at damaging things. When you roll a 1 on the damage die.
To be fair, but
Oh, I know. Oh.
I trip over on a flat floor, like seriously. Standing still. So.
When you roll a 1 on the damage die for a melee attack, so only melee attacks, not ranged, you can re-roll the die and use a new roll. So again, it's that, I can't remember what feat it is now, like Savage Attacker, I think, or something. So that's pretty good. Like you very unlikely to roll a low damage, per se, or you have the chance to get more out of it. And I think it's every time you
once per turn
attack.
Once per turn.
Oh, once per turn. Fantastic. So
OP.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, it doesn't and I was just looking at when you mentioned the guns thing. It doesn't feel it's like overbalanced either. Like it feels underbalanced, if anything. That damage dealer is a good one, but it's not the greatest feat that there is.
Yeah.
And it just feels like they could just having proficiencies in firearms, or just having something, even the headbutt, as you said, as just an additional attack, which has got add a proficiency to your unarmed attack. Basically, could be a simple one, and that feels very manageable.
I seem to remember in that stat block as well is that when we were working it out, is that you're less likely to use the sword stuff because there's more damage with shooting and stuff. You'd only use a sword as the last thing. Yeah. Whereas here, obviously, it's a melee attack with your damage dealer, so you would be in close range for that. So it's, I don't know, who knows, maybe this will be one of those ones that's going to be completely changed when it comes to Spudger, but I do think it's very interesting how different these two are, because I think people would prefer playing gun-toting space hippos over this, perhaps. But
actually, their longsword, two-handed, is a 1d10 plus 4 over the musket, which is a 1d12 plus 2.
Oh, maybe it was that other way around then.
It's actually better to be for them. So it does kind of fit. So anyway, I was just looking at the stat block and just thinking that I'm not great at there are people that know so much more about what's better out of these, but to me, 1d10 plus 4 sounds better than a 1d12 plus 2. I think. Yeah,
well, but that's the thing. It's more if you were running this in an encounter. Your opening round, you want to use your best things for it, and so it sounds like they would rush in and use a sword over, say, but maybe they'll use the grenade first and all that.
The grenade is 1 per day and does 5d6, which is quite good.
So that'll probably be your opener, perhaps. But then, do you then rush in, or do you stay back and shoot? So I don't know. It's just very interesting to see the vast difference between them. But
100%.
Anyway, Hadozee. No. Hadozee.
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 He's taken a sleeping pill. He's Hadozee.
Hadozee. So these are sort of ape-like, monkey-like creatures who have adapted to living in the tall trees of their homeworld. They are natural climbers with feet as dexterous as their hands, which I will say makes me. I have a bit of an ick about it. That makes me like, ugh.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I can imagine. Maybe it's just because obviously in my head, I'm very bad at visualizing what these creatures look like, so I just instantly imagine myself. Yeah. So imagining myself with hands for feet makes me feel very ick inside.
My floor hands and that's 100%. Well, I'm not so freaked out by it, but it's because it's a monkey. I guess that's what
there you see it as a monkey. And I think to take from these folks is that they have something called dexterous feet as a trait, which is you can take the use an object action as a bonus action. Now, again, I talked to this with my partner because I just assumed use an object. Like, what is that? Is that?
I always thought that was like I always take that as an interaction, like as a weapon interaction. I can always take as a separate action. I always thought. Yeah.
So we had a chat about it, and we narrowed it down to two things. One, which is you take a potion of healing, or one you apply poison to your thing. And in pretty much every game,
that rule anyway. Bonus action.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that's already been done.
Who do you want to be like with action economy as it is? I'm going to put poison on my blade. 30 minutes later, I now attack them because it takes that long to get around the group. But what I would do is I would allow change of weapons as a bonus, as in wouldn't take. You don't have to drop your weapon. You can instead, because that's what I always, you have to drop your weapon. I say that you could just put it in your other set of hands. Yeah. I'd also just suggest you could do an additional unarmed strike as a bonus action. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, I think when I was thinking about it, because we discussed, my partner discussed whether or not it'd be like, oh, well, this will be great for if you have magic items. But we found there is a little bit in the DM's guide saying using a magic item is different to using an object, which sucks. Like there's a little line so you can't just be using scrolls, for example. Got you there. So, yeah, they got us there. But I think because there is another feat, there's another class that has this, is the thieves type for rogues, fast hands, which does the same thing. But again, I was just thinking to myself, a lot of the home rules we have, so like taking a healing potion yourself, that we just said as a bonus action whilst giving it to somebody else,
which is the critical role one. There is
exactly. So so I was just really struggling to think what use an object action would be. Like obviously, I just couldn't think of it.
I think I think then there is that. I think it allows you to do that. I would just suggest that, homebrew it, because if you're already homebrewing bonus actions for healing potions, I'd say maybe you can feed someone else a healing potion as a bonus action, because you can be still fighting and get your feet up.
Get your feet hands up with the potion. My floor open wide.
This is an in-joke to the show, but my floor hands is what we had. So you have your floor hands and your wall hands. So
I don't know what feet is. I don't know what feet is.
You mean my floor hands?
My floor hands. He's over here talking about floor hands, dude.
My 6-digit floor hands?
My 6-digit floor hands.
My 6-digit floor hands.
I do the moving around on the
wall hands, so there is a thing. Use your floor hands to get them okay.
Get them up and you like just see like a very dirty floor hand. It's like,
oh nice.
So I was thinking, anyway, that's me being ick. You also get something called glide, which it basically is feather falling, but you can do it horizontally, which again very useful if you're going from like tree to tree or trying to get from a building to a lower building.
Yeah.
Without necessarily jumping.
And it just made me think of Wizard of the Oz, as I said when we last talked about this. It's the Wizard of the Oz flying monkeys kind of thing.
Yes.
Fly, my beauties, fly.
Yeah, that's... Fly. Yeah. So again, all right, on to the final two then. We have Plasmoid and we have Thri-kreen. So, Plasmoids. Interesting. They are amorphous beings with no typical shape. In the presence of other folk, they adopt a similar form, but there's little chance of mistaking for them because they consume food by osmosis in the way an amoeba does. And then excrete waste through tiny pores. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that you just constantly have like, I don't know, you just go out of your cheek?
I think it means like, it's just like gaseous, I imagine, right? Or just water, like a sweat.
Oh, a constantly sweaty
plasma. Yeah.
I like that. So yeah, for me, I was thinking, just because I've been playing a lot of Alien RPG recently, they've got these sort of androids, the sort of milkmen.
Oh yeah.
So they're all sort of, that's sort of, again, now that I'm thinking, the Milky Boys was sort of like the sweat on them as a result.
Was the guy in X-Men who is a human that they force turn into an X-Men who's like a politician. Do you remember? They capture him and he turns into water. He like splashes into water.
Oh,
and he's always constantly sweaty. No?
Oh, I don't remember that at all. But that sounds like a great character though.
Yeah, it was very minor, but then Mystique can impersonate them, and that's how they do it. But he turns into like, he's like very anti X-Men, and they force him.
Oh, that's from the films. I vaguely remember that. Yes, I vaguely remember that. Yeah, because he got forced to do it. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah. Looking at their traits as well. Yeah. They've got amorphous, so you can squeeze through a space as narrow as an inch wide, which is obviously very useful.
Very useful. Doors are no longer a problem.
Well, I like that. Doors are no longer a problem, but then you also have something called shaped self, is that when you're not incapacitated, you can reform your body to give yourself a head, 1 or 2 arms, 1 or 2 legs, and makeshift hands and feet. Or you can revert to a limbless blob. For a bonus action, you can extrude a pseudopod that is up to 6 inches wide and 10 feet long, or reabsorb it, and you can use it to manipulate objects, open an unlocked door. Yeah. So I love the idea you go to the door, you're like, blah, 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 and you just
it's mage hand, isn't it? Basically, you've got mage hand.
A very long mage hand you could do. So if you're looking through like a door or something, you're going underneath it, and it can just snake its way around. In my head, I imagine it like if there was a buffet and you didn't want to go over there, you just go, your hand goes around and you tap someone on the shoulder, they turn around, you grab their food.
That is such an interesting way of thinking of it. I love it. I really like it.
I mean, I'd say that I've got my crumpets here, so I'm okay. I'm just fending off.
You're making me really
Plasmoids.
No, they're cool. They are very cool. Also reminded me of Alec Smack. Do you remember Alec Smack?
Oh, vaguely. Yeah.
So he was got hit by radiation and could turn into a blob, like a chrome blob, and then go through doors and stuff. So that was the other thing. Well. But yeah, no, really cool. I think they're quite a fun one. I think they could be fun to play. There's the Backwater Bastards as a show. They don't play in D&D, but they've got someone they call the Jelly Boy, who is like is a jellyfish who used to live in a fishbowl, and then he got a hold of a jelly suit, which is like a blob that can do exactly all these things basically. So they've already got a character that does it, and they have a lot of fun with it, to be honest. And it is it's a really good characterization. But yeah, if you want to see someone playing something very similar, Backwater Bastards is worth checking out. So there you go.
Definitely, 1,000%. Yeah, I love it when, even if it's not D&D or something like that, but something similar.
Well, it is D&D based, but they've re-edited it a bit to make their own sort of system. But if you know D&D, you'll understand what they're doing. If you understand
it. Perfect. Oh, that's even better than having a basis of familiarity. But even just seeing, like you said, like having it look in a certain way, and you're like, oh, that's really cool. I want it in my game.
Yeah, they've got some really cool art for it as well. So yeah, worth checking out.
Ah, fab. All right, Thri-kreen.
Yes.
Kreen. Then, God. Insectiles, sort of creatures with 2 pairs of arms. Although it says 2 pairs of arms, did it not have 6 arms? It's 6 limbed. 6 Never mind.
Yeah,
as me being pedantic for no reason. So they again, I see these. Maybe it's in my head. I see them as cockroaches, which is not a nice thing to say, perhaps. But they had this whole bit of it talking about their mandibles, and like that's how they communicate to each other.
Yeah.
But the sight is so horrific to adventurers. Like there's like, they're gonna eat me, and it's like, I like the idea. They're like, oh, hello. Oh, you can't understand. Oh, fuck. Oh, no, don't panic. But yeah, they do have telepathy, so they can communicate. So you're not limited by just mandible speak per se. So I quite like that. Was there anything for you about the Thri-kreen that you liked?
The chameleon carapace is kind of cool. Gives you good stealth checks. It means your carapace can just turn into naturally surroundings, so a bit chameleon-like, as it says. Yeah, you can use your secondary arms to wield, more weapons.
Yes. Very much like General Grievous, Cypher's thinking.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yes. Actually, that's a much cooler experience of it. Yeah, that's better than the creepy cockroaches. And I mean, the only thing about them to say is they're a Dark Sun thing, I believe. And so, what does that mean for the future of D&D? We don't know, but unless this is just... Because the Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes delivered a lot of stuff that's from, as we said, we got the Giff in there and everything like that before. So maybe this is just going in Mordenkainen's new book. I think Monsters of the Multiverse.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see what comes out of this. And again, the only thing I want to add at the end of this is that looking at the Plasmoid and looking at the Thri-kreen. I'm going to keep every time I say it's something different. It says creature type is ooze and monstrosity. I don't think I've ever had a monstrosity type
playable character.
Race.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not sure we've had an ooze type either. So
no.
Thinking about that in terms of like, so it says it at the beginning, this idea of like, think about weaknesses perhaps, and it definitely appeared more in the the undead lineages, the Gothic lineages, Unearthed Arcana saying, like, you know, cure wounds won't help you if you're undead, but it doesn't harm you either. So I'm wondering, like, as an ooze, is there any vulnerabilities you have, or, you know, compared to monstrosity?
Yeah, no, you're right. Does acid affect you worse? Does things like, what happens when you go in other liquids? I don't know. I'm just wondering these things. Like,
well, that's true, because like you'd think, because you do have a natural resistance to acid and poison damage, but you're not immune to it. So I can't remember if again, it's off the top of my head. I'm just like, interesting that those are the only types that like, oh, these are definitely not humanoid. I think.
Oh, did they actually get that? Did they actually get? No. Oh yeah, you have resistant to acid and poison damage.
Yeah, underneath, yeah.
It did. Sorry, I missed that bit. I didn't realise, because I'd assume it'd be the other way, because I thought because they're sort of watery, the acid, and the guys...
Oh, they might have it more.
Yeah, once you've got acid on you, it starts to all fall apart, and you kind of crumble a bit more, but okay, maybe not then. Okay. Yeah. Interesting, yeah. I mean, I think it's fun. I think, as you said, it's giving... I think playing... There's so many great monsters out there that would be great to play. Like, who doesn't want to play as a dragon? Like,
Yes, true.
And thanks to Fizzbands, you can. Ish.
We can. Still don't have the book, but yes, you can.
And exactly. And then, but it's all this other ones, like, you know, playing as a gnoll or playing as lots of other ones. Like, I think, I can't think off the top of my head right now, but yeah, I think this is good that they're expanding that sort of playable character races.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, with the multiverse stuff coming out, you can be whatever you want. And I think as long as, for me, the whole thing is as long as you put the story first rather than the characters, have the story that have the characters support the story rather than the other way around. That's the only thing I'd say from this. Like, all this is like really interesting, but I want to make sure that it's not like... But I mean, again, it's that sort of thing you have with your players. Like, let's talk about extraordinary versus ordinary. That you could be ordinary players, or you can have extraordinary characters in an ordinary space.
Yes.
So
I think that's exactly the thing. That's great. There's a lot there, but I think we've got to go, haven't we?
I've got to go. I've got another meeting very quickly. But Hamilton, tell us quickly. Plug stuff. Go.
Well, I do Dragon's Duel. We are finalising plans for season 3. We've got some fun things happening with that, so that's coming up, and some Christmas specials coming in December. Other than that, I'm really just focusing on this at the moment, and we've got We Are Not Heroes on the stream on every other Monday at 7:30 Eastern American times. So other than this, you'll just see me working on Dragon's Duel, which is coming back soon. What about you? What am I rolling doing?
Oh, it's What Am I Rolling? So, What Am I Rolling is a twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast. As always, it's going very, very well. Lots of stuff happening, lots of improv stuff happening, all things happening. So please do go check that out. That's wherever you listen to podcasts. We have an offer code at Third Space Gaming in Burnley. So if you want some 10% off your first order on anything RPG related or terrain or anything gaming, go to their website. That's thirdSpaceGaming.co.uk and type in the offer code DMBC into checkout to get 10% off your first order. Anyway, I have to rush off because I have another meeting, which is weird. But thank you so much for everyone, and we'll speak to you next.
See you next week, and I'll see you in half an hour.
I'll see you in half an hour.
See you next week. Love you. Bye.